One thing I love about Job is how incredibly honest he is. Job had lost everything. He lost his children. He lost all of his wealth. He lost his health. He was in constant, tremendous physical pain. And he was struggling with why God was allowing his life to be so painful. And so he had some questions, three main questions. The first one was, Lord, why was I even born? If it's going to be like this, it would have been better if I was never born at all. Why couldn't you have just closed my mother's womb from the beginning and saved me all of this trouble? The second question was, and if I did have to be born, why didn't you just let me die at birth? Because then I'd be free from all of this. I would have just laid down in peace from the very start. And then the first two questions were basically saying, God, why couldn't you just have kept me from ever being alive? Have you ever felt that way? Then I would have never had to feel this pain at all. The third question goes a step further. He says, Lord, why do you give someone light and then block them from ever being able to walk in that light? In other words, why do you give someone a taste of life and then make their life in a way that they never actually get to walk in it or enjoy that life, to really live? I've had people ask questions like that to me in the counseling room. Pastor, if God knew that it was going to be this painful and difficult, why did he even allow me to be on this earth? It would have been better just not to even exist. Those are real questions in the midst of real pain. And unlike Job's friend, I don't rebuke them for those kind of questions. And neither does God. You see, first of all, Job wasn't being disrespectful to God. He was just being honest. And we can go to the Lord with honest questions. He can work with an honest heart. It's much better to be honest with God about our pain than to try to pretend that it's not there, because we can't deceive him. He already knows exactly how we feel, so we might as well tell him. Secondly, not only was Job not being disrespectful, he also wasn't showing a lack of faith. I hear people in Uganda all the time telling people if they're sick or they're having financial struggles or any kind of problem, just have faith. Just trust God and then everything will get better, I promise. But that's a wrong understanding of how life really works in this world, even for God's most faithful servants. I mean, listen, we've already been told very clearly 3 times in the first 2 chapters of Job that he was a righteous man, that he was a man of genuine faith who was blameless before God. God himself said, there is nobody like Job, nobody who trusts me and walks with me and loves me like Job does. Being godly doesn't mean that we don't suffer. Having faith doesn't mean that we won't have pain. Pain is just part of life in this world, and God's people are not vaccinated against it. So having faith doesn't mean that we can just believe and the pain will go away. And having faith doesn't mean that when the pain comes, we won't feel it because of our great trust. No, our faith is not a painkiller. Our faith simply takes the pain and puts it in its proper perspective. Our faith enables us to look at the ever-changing circumstances of our lives through the lens of the never-changing love and faithfulness of God. As it's often been said, when we can't understand what God's hand is doing, we can always trust God's heart.